theory that would take me like 45 minutes to explain out the movie, but it's just easier if you just see it. Most people listening to this, I would assume, have seen the movie. And they don't use the zero law in any other rendition I've ever heard of, because it's really just changing from one human to humanity. And if they use that, then they couldn't kill humans to save humanity, you know? So, but it is used constantly that if these things all do, in fact, save Law 1, they can do any of them. They can kill themselves, they can kill humans, they can harm humans, they can arrest humans. As long as at the end of the day, humanity as a whole, so they don't really say zero, but it's there, is saved in the process. And the idea for a lot of these is that humanity's gone so far that you have to kill some of them to rein it back in, which isn't that the whole point of this Starfleet thing we're going through right now? That Starfleet's gone too far, and that's why Picard left. So to save Starfleet from Starfleet, you must kill people that are in Starfleet, or at least under their control.
I'm still holding to my belief.
You want it to be that way because then you're not as much of a hypocrite as I'm about to call you, because the stakes in this episode got so high that the entire galaxy could end.
Yeah, I don't know how I felt about that. Where
well,
all
you
of
said
a
you
sudden
loved it
it's
in the beginning.
like, you know, and we were just talking about this over on the Edge about Discovery, where it's the entire
it is again
galaxy, and I heard the galaxy depends on it. The Commodore, and I was like, oh my gosh, we had to go there. Why? I was enjoying this lovely little story.
I caught that actually earlier than she said it. I thought you wouldn't because you don't want the stakes to be that high, but I was like, they're definitely going there. Like there were things that were said earlier in that episode that were like, oh yeah, this is going to be everyone. And like, I'm thinking to myself, man, people are going to be so pissed, or they're not. And you're going to be able to call them hypocrites. But I didn't care about it in Discovery, so I don't care about it here. It doesn't bother me. It didn't bother me there. It's not going to bother me here.
Yeah, that's right. It didn't.
So,
I remember.
Right. But I knew you wouldn't like it. You at least don't like the idea of it. You're going to get over it because it's Picard, though. And this brings us back to something you asked in the last episode is there a bias because it's Picard? Of course there is.
Yeah.
Because you went, great episode, though. Great episode. Great. I'm ignoring that. That's whatever.
That's right.
So I had to poke fun at you a little bit for that one because I saw the stakes shoot through the roof this episode. I was like, oh, man.
Yep.
If this was Discovery, people would be screaming. So, but again, he's not the captain. He's not. Yeah. I said it last episode. Well, you don't need the stakes so high because it's Picard, but I was wrong. See, I was wrong. Back to the point of this. A few little things that happened in the episode, in the scene before he kills everybody and the synths kill everybody on Mars. They talked about the Una Matrix, so they dropped that little nugget in there.
Yes, that was so fun.
We should go back to the Una Matrix, you know?
Yep.
So that was kind of cool.
Yep.
And I'm not even a shorts person, but that came from the shorts, and I thought it was a cool little Easter egg in there.
Yep.
So we're going to see this a lot, right? We are going to get a lot of these
Easter eggs.
Yeah, fan service callbacks and stuff, which is cool. I mean, I'm fine with it because if you miss that line, it doesn't change this episode at all.
No, not
It's just
at
a
all.
throwaway line.
Yep.
Just to get to the point where he kills everybody. Like, I mean, it's just a kill time in the episode.
And can I say how awesome? And I'm not usually one who, notices pips or ships or rifles, phaser rifles. But man, the thing that he used, like, it went straight through and back out the humans. And I thought that was pretty darn awesome.
Well, we saw that in the first episode. They had the same kind of handguns. If you look, they're the same shapes.
Yeah, I noticed the shape, but this one, it was just, I guess, so much closer that I really
I don't think they hit anyone in the.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
They missed
everybody. But this one, man, it went straight through and out the back, and I was like, that is powerful. Yeah. He had that thing on full force.
Oh, yeah, no, that was not on stun. There was no stun setting set there. Yeah, that was cool. I like the weapon itself, like just the design of the weapon. The whole. It would probably be cumbersome to, I don't know. Maybe it'd actually be better because it's weighted the same on the bottom as it is on the top, on like a handgun. But I don't know. Again, I'm just using what we consider regular guns, which would look nothing like that. So, but they are interesting looking, and the fight scene was cool because he like, we did see that gun used in the first episode in the scene where she fights off the death squad in the apartment.
Yep.
And I can't remember if it did shoot through people or not. And we saw it again in this episode because it was in the last time on Star Trek or last time on Picard. That scene happened. I can't remember now, but listeners, correct me. Tell me whether that happened or not. So, yeah, and I just like the fact that we're tying this in so tightly to that scene, that short.
Yes.
Not really what happened in the short itself. Like
Nope.
it's not picking up these girls at all.
Nope.
But now we know where that came from.
Yes. I know. I thought the tie-in was really well done and it fit with the story, and we're getting, again, this massive amount of information, right? And we're seeing the actual attack on a different perspective, and that was 14 years previous. And then we jump. And so I just thought that flashback, I mean, it wasn't, I don't know if you call it that, but it
history lesson.
Yeah. A little history lesson. And it's just tying in these themes that we're seeing, like you brought the Asimov book, like that android, this whole theme of Daj and Soji, and here is sort of that beginning of this terror and fear that the Federation is having,
Right, absolutely. We also, and then when we move past that, right, we get past that scene, there was something that happened in the next scene that annoyed me. They talk about, I guess it shouldn't, maybe I'm wrong. Whatever. I can't remember her name. They say the woman, the Romulan refugee's name that's with Picard. They say it late in the episode, and I can't. With all the things I wrote down, I didn't write that one. So, but she's saying to him, she's explaining to him about the Tal Shiar and the Zavash or
Jacques Vache.
There you go. Thank you. And how they, for thousands of years, they've hated synths. Well, did they have them for thousands of years? Like, nothing leads me to believe that to be the case.
Well, she definitely made she drew a line in the sand that was like, we definitely use technology. Obviously, they have, ships and blah, blah, blah. But that was like a computer, input, output, binary.
Right.
And not going past that and not investigating because of the fear. And, we get a lot of that in our day in life where it's like, we're talking and our phones are listening or Alexa's listening. Like, they didn't even want to go there, I think, because of their secrecy and their paranoia in general, prevented them. So it was always just this, ones and zeros, yes, no type of programming. The numeracy part of technology is what they investigated and didn't go past that.
Yeah, but if you did that, could you become the Romulan Empire? If you purposely halted technological advances because you were too afraid for them to think for themselves, could you have gotten to the point they got to?
I really do believe that you could, because you are going to manipulate that technology, and then with your brain and the actions that you are going to do, especially as a people working together with that same common goal, I think you could. I think you could circumvent and still accomplish all that they have done. It would be more difficult, but I think that's what sort of keeps their brains so manipulative and conniving and fearful and paranoia, because their brains are working overtime.
Yeah, I like your optimism. I just don't buy it.
Okay.
But whatever. That wasn't even my issue. That's coming to me now as we're talking about it. However, my whole thing was just the fact that they're like, they hated and loathed them for thousands of years. Like, there's nothing that makes me believe there's been synths,
right,
androids for thousands of years. Like, it's almost as if they came into existence as they have on Earth, basically within a couple hundred years everywhere all over the galaxy. They like really lay it in thick with the 1,000. It just laying that whole thousands of years thing on, I don't know. It just sounded off to me, is what it really did. So
yeah, it seemed too long of a time to be
Right.
hating these synths that are
Right.
brand new.
But what I do like about it is that what are they called again?
Jat Vache.
Thank you. The Zhat Vash have existed for thousands of years, and they still exist. They're just called the Tal Shiar.
Yeah, that they
So-
were predecessors. To
Right, like the
Tal
Knights
Shiar.
Templar, the theory that the Knights Templar became them Freemasons.
Mm-hmm.
Something along those lines, except that they became Section 31 for the Romulans.
Yeah.
In reality, that's what they are. They're Section 31, Romulan Section 31 members.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I did catch. Like, people were, like, talking about this, and they're like, oh, they shouldn't, secret organizations, we have to get rid of that. Like, guys, we have one. Like, every country in the world has one. That's just a part of having a society with a military.
You're right. Yeah.
I don't like it, but it's not going to ever stop. It's not going to change.
Yeah. And I loved her line when she was like, well, it's like a secret, and like,
Double secret
anything,
probation.
you can put the word secret in front of anything Romulan, that was perfect. I loved it.
Well, and it was followed up by a comic line after that, or right before that, with when Soji is asking the guy questions, and he's like, I'll tell you something about me. I'm a very private person.
Yep.
It was like, haha, cute.
Yeah. Well, can you
Cool.
keep a secret? Yes, I can. So can I.
Yeah, that was another great one. Yeah, the Romulans have always been secretive. They're not going to change that for Picard. Like,
Right.
that's not going to change in this episode, this season, series, or whatever, which is good.
Yep.
And I guess they could have, but they're not going to, which is good. I don't know. That whole revelation that there's a new secret order that became the Tal Shiar, which may not even exist in reality ever, but we all know does,
Yeah.
is fascinating to me. That's why I like the idea of Section 31. So I love the fact that we're getting that kind of stuff, and I want the show to give us some of their point of view, which by the end of this episode, I believe, is going to happen.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
and you have in your notes, so I'm just going to say it, like their technology and how she uses that room scanner, and Picard's like, well, those are unreliable and
Dubious
those
at
don't
best.
work. And she's like, that's what we wanted you to believe. I'm
Right.
like, yes, that's so perfect. That's so Romulan.
Exactly. And what's great about it, too, is when she says it, you don't think she's full of it.
Yeah.
You're not just like, oh, she's saying that because she doesn't want him to know now it doesn't work. Like, no, they didn't want you to know it worked then.
Mm-hmm. And how cool would that be to just scan a room and see your actions, sort of just like a replay camera based on the molecules that used to be there.
Yeah.
It's
Great
way,
technobabble.
Yeah, total
Awesome
awesomeness.
technobabble.
Yep.
So, and that would be really cool if you could have holograms of you or whatever was going on in the room at the time.
Yeah.
And then they found the little computer pop-up screen thingy to
Okay, that totally when Picard picked that up off the
the
desk,
ruler
it looked like a slide rule.
with a really large slide.
Yeah.
Like,
I was like, hey.
wood coated in the middle. Yeah, I didn't know what it was when he put it up first either, and then the screen was up. And I'm a computer guy, so I'm still waiting for these screens because I want to be able to just like move things with my. I mean, I know you can have touch screens now, but they're not this. They're not as
She
good as this.
was like turning dials and everything.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And I was wondering if you would. I mean, so now we have seen these screens that are see-through.
Transparent.
Yep. I'm wondering, are you okay with that?
No, I've always been okay with the screens themselves.
Just not in front of the teacher.
Right. Just don't have something happen that someone's supposed to not see while they're looking through it. That's all I'm
Right.
asking. Just a logical consistency in the screens themselves.
Yeah.
So I want these kind of screens. Like you've seen these in movies like Minority Report and other movies like that. Or you've seen them in like action movies where like they're the heads-up display for something. I think it's awesome. I can't wait for these things to exist, if ever. Please make them exist. Yeah, so I love the screens themselves. I just, that short drove me crazy.
We're not going to go there. Let's
But
go.
screen technology, wait, no,
Yeah.
we can tie that in because screen technology has not changed much in 14 years. Because 14 years ago was the attack on Mars, right? And that's when
Yep.
the short happens. And now we're 14 years later, and it's a bigger screen. But that could be chalked up to the fact that they were at a school desk, so they
Yeah.
can only have